This is an unboxing and first look at the Sindoh DP200 3Dwox 3D printer. Now if you're watching this video, you may be searching for the best 3D printer to buy by watching and reading countless online reviews. For weeks I've been doing the same and have not found a 3D printer with the right specs that make me want to make a purchase. Some are too expensive, too complicated, have limited filaments, have inherent design problems, or are finicky and just have poor print quality. Others seem to be knockoffs of other units, or can't do ABS well or at all due to their lack of heated beds or enclosed build space. I had truthfully decided to wait a few months or a year and see what the next generation of 3D printers brought. And then it came up on a web search. The totally forgettably named Sindoh DP200 3Dwox. On paper, it surprisingly seemed to meet my requirements and even exceed my expectations. The first downside? You could count the online reviews, blog posts, and spec pages about this machine on one hand. Also, from the get-go, I saw that it used proprietary chipped filament, but I was willing to compromise if the machine just worked without too much fiddling. After all, I want to design and print cool stuff, not spend 80% of my time leveling the bed, setting the gap, and waiting for the build plate to heat up and raise up. From the looks of this machine, you can see the design is different than most others, mechanically and cosmetically. Mechanically, for example, the bed moves in the Y-axis instead of the head, and it has auto-loading filament. The next problem? Who is Sindoh? And how would I go about buying one of these since it's Korean made? Well, Sindoh is listed as being, quote, the #1 market share leader of the office automation industry in South Korea since it was founded in 1960, unquote. And oh yeah, you buy it on Amazon, and only on Amazon. They were in stock, and next day Prime delivery was $15 more. Well, let's give it a shot. Order placed. A bamboo flash drive comes with it, which I haven't used. A ferrite bead they say to put on your Ethernet cable if you use it. The manual, a power cord, USB cable, a scraper, and the proprietary chipped filament. This is white, PLA. Comes with 600 grams. And I purchased separately 750 grams each of ABS black and ABS gray. Let's take a quick look at the specs. 0.4 millimeter nozzle diameter, an 8 by 8 by 8 inch build platform, PLA and ABS, Ethernet and Wi-Fi, which is a nice touch. Nice layer thickness, 1.75 millimeter filament, although proprietary. A 5-inch color touchscreen, and it's a nice touch screen. Almost along the lines of an iPhone for touch. It's not one of those cheap ones that doesn't respond well to the touch. Auto leveling, well, it's assisted auto leveling. It'll actually tell you turn the knob this many degrees to level it, but that's pretty nice. Has an LED lamp for inside. It has a camera inside and apps for both Android and iOS so that you can monitor your prints. As well as a few nice features they don't list, like a fully enclosed build area with see-through doors on the top and front, a HEPA filter, a nice interface, and a removable heated build plate. There were 10 reviews on Amazon, and all of them were 5 out of 5 stars. A couple of the guys were even 3D designers by trade, so it sounded like they knew what they were doing. Also, I kind of liked their website. It was very simple, but the couple options that were there got right to the heart of what we were trying to do, including downloads for their software, manuals, and configuration settings. Support is mainly by email, and I actually tried that. I sent them 2 emails with a couple questions, and I was happy to see that within a day they did get back to me. So I think support, although distant, is probably something that we can trust if we really had a problem. Now let's cut over to the unboxing that's in progress. Here's for a USB stick to load jobs, your screen and touch panel, your power switch. Here's where your filament goes, some wire wrap, There's your heated build plate, removable heated build plate. I like these doors. They're see-through, smoked color though. Pretty nice. Can see through the top and the front. Nothing really on either side. And then on the back, you have your Ethernet and USB on this side. And over here, your power. Okay, let's power him up. Now this assisted bed leveling process seems to take 2 tries maybe, and what it does is it has a little sensor on the head and it goes to various locations on the print bed and it pushes down, and then it comes in and pops up on the screen and says turn one of these 2 front knobs so many degrees or so many turns to the left or right. Then it goes back and checks it once or twice and it'll let you know if it's leveled out. It didn't seem to be too complicated and seemed to work pretty well. Now I tried to push some buttons on the screen and load the filament and I messed it up. And I don't know, I was overthinking it. I mean, basically, here's your chipped filament, by the way. I basically took the filament and the screen was just at the main menu and I just pushed the filament in here. And there it says to cut away any extra filament before you put it in. So it doesn't even stick out. But as soon as I pushed it in and closed the door, it popped up and says, do you want to auto load your filament? So I guess don't overthink it. Just plug it in there and there it goes, feeding filament. And then it starts that little gear and starts pulling it out and pushing it up through the little tube. And we'll see it come up here in the back. Maybe it's white filament and it's a white tube. Now don't miss it here. Look at the clear tube up at the top. See how it's clear? It'll turn white here in a second. Watch up here. It's a clear tube in the upper left. And white. See the white going through it? That was your filament loading in automatically. It's going down into the head. The head is heated up, the extruder. And pretty soon it'll say that it's done. Notice at the bottom, it knows that it's PLA. It's know that it's a white color. And that's all because of the chip. And the number of dots down there, I believe, tells you how much filament is left. So that was showing a full cartridge. Pretty nice. And there we go. Filament loaded.
Okay.
Now let's poke through some of the menus here. They have a Z offset. You can change the Z offset by 0.05 millimeters up or down to raise your Z axis. It's pretty nice. Some of these things like the network, you can set it up for Wi-Fi or wired, which is really nice. I'm going to use it on a wired network with a static IP. On to the next page. They have an LED lamp inside. You can turn it on only for printing or always on. And you may hear the printer actually printing in the background here while I'm doing this video. I have it over here doing a test job, my first test job. So that's the noise back here. Bed lowering, which actually allows you to manually lower the bed. Power saving mode. It's kind of neat. I think that's the amount of time before it puts itself in power save mode. It'll keep the bed and the nozzle at a temperature that's sort of ready to go. That way it doesn't keep shutting down. Probably your volume on your beep. I read the manual once before it got here, but I'm just poking through menus right now. Only used to replace with a new nozzle. Okay. You can have it email you along the way, tell you how the progress is going on your job. Do a software update when it's on the network. Directly update your firmware without using a computer, so that's pretty nice. Now let's go over and do the test print and see if this thing even works. Yeah, they have like a test in here, a small one. It says 8 minutes. That's kind of nice, a preview and a play button. It asks you that a lot, you know, make sure there's nothing inside. Make sure you've removed things from the bed. So I know this will take a while, so we'll let it adjust the temperature and heat up the bed and the nozzle and see if the test print will print. Okay, so I cut to the part where it started printing here. It got up to temperature and it's just going to start the print. Now, right now there's no sound, just me talking, but it's not real loud, and I really should have the lid down here to keep the heat in. But I just want to check it out as it's doing its test print, see what it's doing for the first time. It's pretty neat. It's interesting that table moving in the y-axis. I'm not used to that. I'm used to seeing the head go back and forth. Right, so we're at about 99% here, and it kind of jumbles around a little bit here, so I might cut to the end just so that you can see the process when it gets finished. And we should be just about done here. And there we go, bed lowering. Do not touch the bed or printed object. Pretty cool. One thing I think I'm going to enjoy about this is the removable bed. Let me see if I can do it here with one hand. I'm holding the camera with the other hand. If you push those two tabs down, it slides right out. Now it is hot. When I was doing ABS later, that thing's pretty hot. But here for PLA, it's not that bad. You could let it cool down. But it's nice because you don't throw your build plate out of whack by scraping on it to get your part off. You got to be really careful with these scrapers. They can be sharp. You don't want to get your fingers in the way of them if it slips and that piece comes off of there. This didn't come off too bad, and it's just the build plate. There's no adhesive or anything on there, and that's how they say to do it. It's like an aluminum plate. I'll probably use rafts in the future so I don't damage my part. But there you go, like a little Lego piece or little PLA test print. Took about 8 minutes. Cool. And here he is, moved into the office where he's going to live between the laser printer and the inkjet. He's a nice size, 18 inches cubed. Now here I had unloaded the white PLA filament, and I wanted to load in the gray ABS so I could do a test print there. So here I am, just push in the gray ABS. And because it has the chip on the filament. It knows what type it is. It's going to auto load it there. So it'll feed the filament up through the tube, and look at the bottom there. It says ABS, and it has a full cartridge of gray color. That's pretty cool. Now I'm going to set my printer up on a wired Ethernet connection. What's nice is it'll support Wi-Fi here, which I have off. And then the wired, right there, it picked up DHCP, no problem. But I want to go with static. And you think you'd have to put in, you know, like these little up-down arrows. No, they give you a nice big keyboard. You can just type your IP address right in there. Sweet. That's the way it should be. I guess I hit this little circle here. Guess that's the enter. Yep. So I'll finish this up. The subnet, gateway, and DNS connect up. Now that we're on Ethernet and connected to the network, I wonder if we can do a software update. Start update. Oh, yeah, there we go. Old software, new software revision. Press any key or power off to not update. I'll just tap the screen here. Oh, there we go. Downloading the new firmware. That's nice. Extracting to verify. Now I'll cut this out, but it sat here on extracting to verify for like 2 minutes. Whenever you're updating firmware on any type of machine, don't pull the power, don't push any buttons, just leave it go and be patient. It'll be back. Be patient. Now after about 2 or 3 minutes, it went to extracting the update, and then it said updating, do not power off. So like I said, it's firmware, don't power it off, leave it go. And for our patients, we're rewarded with update complete, power off and on. Push and hold the button to power off. It pulses a little bit when it's in sleep mode, and then push it to power on. There we go. Firmware updated. I just noticed this little history button on the info screen shows you total print time and filament used over the life of the machine. Now one thing, I was getting ready to level my build plate, and see where the flashlight is under the bed there? There's a piece of white styrofoam. It must have been left over from shipping, and when the bed moves in and out, that's in there. So I get some needle nose pliers and pull that out of there. I don't know if it's thrown anything off, but just be aware. Look around for little pieces like that. Now here's just a quick look at the included software, their slicer and printing software. You can go in easy mode, and this is really all you see. You pick from fast, normal, or slow speed. Is your material ABS or PLA, and do you want supports or not? Down the left-hand side, you load your STL files, and these are the settings. When I click settings, this is all that came up in easy mode. Notice on the left it has that I have gray ABS filament in and how much. And on the right, you have your little home, move, mirror, rotate, and then print. So in easy mode, you don't have a lot of options. One thing they do include is a layer view. You see that little cylinder up in the upper left where it says advanced mode? If you click that, you can drop down and go into layer view. And on the right hand side, it shows that there are 54 layers, and I moved the slider up to layer 38. So when you look at the design down in the cube at the bottom that's going to print on the bed, you can ramp it up and see the different layers as how they're going to print after it's been sliced. Also, on the right, it says it'll take 32 minutes and 1.67 meters or 4.2 grams. So it's an estimate of your material and usage and time. Now, if you switch out of basic mode and go into advanced mode, you'll see at the top it says advanced, but there's still 4 tabs across there. One of them is basic. That's kind of strange. What is that, advanced, basic? But notice here you can set layer height and wall thickness and enable retraction of your extruder and, you know, the fill densities and brims and rafts and things like that. And your print speed is kind of slow. I am printing in the background here. I know you can hear it. It's kind of loud, but it's getting to that spot where it has to do a lot of things. And it is printing kind of slow, but I hope it makes up for it in quality. And you can set your temperatures here. So that's nice. They have a lot of flexibility if you go in advanced mode. Let me show you some of the other tabs. Here's the advanced 1 tab. Set your nozzle size and your brim, your infills, a skirt, support, quality, and your speed, your infill speed. You can set all this stuff. So I can let you pause it here if you want and look at some of this in detail. Here's the Advanced 2 tab. Enable the cooling fan, minimum layer time, fan speeds, retraction information, raft info. Pause here if you want to read this. And lastly, the Advanced 3 tab, shape error corrections and combinations. So lastly, here's a little project. It's a reprint of a project I did on another machine. It's a little enclosure for an electronics project. It's my first job with ABS on this printer. And it is slow. I'm not sure about the quality. I see some funny lines and things in there, but maybe it's infill. I don't know what to expect on this printer yet. The time estimate is correct, though. It said 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's going to be, within 10 minutes of that till it's done here. So that's good. But I don't know about the slicing. So this machine supports Cura as well for slicing, which is free. So I may look into that because maybe their slicing software is different here. So here's my project, fresh off the press. Like I said, it was accurate on its time within about 10 minutes. And I don't know, I'll have to learn a little more about setting the specs. This was medium build quality. I don't know what to expect. I only used one other 3D printer. Results look similar, but I'm sure the slicing software might have something to do with that, as well as the advanced settings, which I haven't touched at all. Although it takes longer to print, I really think rafts might be the way to go with this printer. Look, I could just slide this right under here and break this free, and that way I don't have to worry about that first layer, because if something gets screwed up in the first layer, it's the raft, and my part comes out okay. So I'll let this cool down and then come back and scratch that off of there. Here are just a few still shots of my project. Again, you guys make a decision as to what you think about the quality. I only ever use one other printer, so I don't know what to expect. I think this is acceptable for what I'm doing, but I don't know if it's good or bad. And again, this was medium print quality. I printed at 40 millimeters per second, but I did nothing to calibrate other than stick a business card under the head, offset the Z-axis a little bit, and leveled the bed. So who knows? I'm sure a lot of things could be done. And this is just some white flash on there. That's not anything, but the holes look okay, and they can easily just be poked out with a little drill. They're close, so I think it's good. So time will tell. This is a new machine. It's only been out a couple months. Filaments are somewhat hard to come by, but they say they're going to be more of them in stock in Amazon soon with replacement build plates and replacement extruders. They're also said to be coming out with refillable cartridges where they send you the chip and the filament and you refill the plastic container for slightly cheaper. I hope it's something that I can keep long term and it works out for me and it gives me some good service and some good quality products. It's been a good experience so far, but as with anything new, it takes some time to decide if it's going to work out for you. I look forward to learning more about it. I hope this has been enjoyable and informative to you, and thanks for watching.